In the Hagrid video I made a few weeks ago, I created a small chart to convey just how tall he was in the books, and a bunch of you asked me to expand on this graphic, so I thought, why not? I was just gonna make a small chart and maybe upload it to Twitter or my Instagram, but me being me, I made it super complicated, adding almost every single character to it. At this point, I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna make a whole video on this. And in this video, I'm just gonna go through character after character, ranking them from the tallest to the smallest. I decided not to go by the actors in the movie's heights because honestly, that's boring and you can find pretty much all of that online. I wanted to make it harder on myself and find out the height of each character in the books. It was not easy as I went through each book, scoured through it, and used a ton of clues from the novels to figure out each height. I think this is going to be a fun video, and make sure you stay till the end because I bet you can't guess which character is the actual shortest. Also, if you enjoy this video, hit that like button. It will greatly help the channel with the algorithm. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and you can also follow me on all of my other social medias, all of which are linked down below, and all of which house similar content that I make here on this channel. Now that I've said that, let's get into it. First, at the tallest character in all of Harry Potter, we have Golgamath, a fully grown giant standing at 20 feet tall. Then we have Hagrid's half-brother Grawp, who stands at 16 feet tall, and he was small compared to the average giant, which you can really see as he stands next to Golgamath. After that, we have Rubeus Hagrid himself, who was a half-giant, coming in at 11 feet and 6 inches. He was much taller in the book than he was in the movie. The films had him be 3 feet shorter, coming in at 8'6". But of course, as I said, we're going by the books, not the movies. Following that, we have another half giant, Olympe Maxime, who comes in at 11 feet and 4 inches. In the movie, she was actually taller than Hagrid, but she was 2 inches shorter than him in the book. After that, we have Firenze the Centaur coming in at 7 feet and 5 inches, the mix of his horse body as well as his human torso really making him huge when compared to most characters in the series. Getting to the first human on the list, we have Vincent Crabbe at 6'5". Then we have Gregory Goyle at 6'4". Goyle was significantly taller than Crabbe in the movie, but in the book, Goyle was an inch shorter than Crabbe. Dumbledore then comes in at 6'3". He was a pretty tall guy, which was part of what made him so feared among dark wizards. That, and the fact that he was a literal genius, was exceptional at magic and probably better than most people in the world, and the fact that he had the Elder Wand, the most powerful wand in the world. I'm really starting to see why he was the only person Voldemort ever feared. Getting back to the graph, Fenrir Greyback is the same height as Dumbledore, also being 6'3", which like Dumbledore only adds to how intimidating and dangerous Greyback is. Seriously though, this guy was a menace and a literal cannibal as he bit and ate humans when he was in his human form. He did it when he wasn't even a werewolf. Jeez, remind me not to mess with Greyback. Coming in at 6'2", we have 3 different characters. Tom Riddle, aka Lord Voldemort, Kingsley Shacklebolt, one of the most powerful Aurors, and Cedric Diggory, who is not only tall, but also handsome. Must be nice, must be nice. After that, we have 2 characters coming in at 6'1". Ron Weasley, who rapidly grew throughout his time at Hogwarts, making his parents spend the little money they had on new robes for him every year because he grew out of them so fast. Then we have Alistair Mad-Eye Moody, who also stands at 6'1", giving him a great advantage while in the field as an Auror. There is a reason why he's the GOAT of all Aurors. After that, we have 4 characters that come in at exactly 6 feet. This includes Remus Lupin and Gilderoy Lockhart. Looks-wise, Gilderoy Lockhart was the full package. He was tall, handsome, had the best smile according to Witch Weekly magazine,
and 5 times winner of Witch Weekly's Most Charming Smile Award.
It's too bad that he was absolutely useless with magic and a total fraud. That brings his aura down a ton. Joining the 6 Feet Club, we also have Bill Weasley and Dean Thomas. We have 5 characters standing at 5'11". Draco Malfoy, Sirius Black, Severus Snape, Vernon Dursley, and Arthur Weasley. Reaching the characters that stand at 5'10", the best height if you ask me, which I definitely don't have a bias for. We have 4 characters at this height: James Potter, Harry Potter, who was the spitting image of his dad, which included his height. And looking at Harry, interestingly, book Harry is way taller than he was in the movies. Daniel Radcliffe was actually a whopping 5 inches shorter than book Harry. Then joining the 5'10 club with James and Harry, the best club, we have Seamus Finnegan as well as Percy Weasley. We have 3 characters at 5'9. Fleur Delacour, the Vila in her making her taller than the average woman, Dudley Dursley, who is described to be as wide as he is tall, which I don't think is physically possible, but okay. Also, if you're thinking that Dudley sounds short because he was so massive compared to Harry in the first few books, this is because Dudley had a growth spurt way sooner than most kids, and Harry had his growth spurt way later than most kids. That of course gave Dudley an edge, but when they got older, Harry was 2 inches taller. And joining Dudley at this height was his mother Petunia Dursley, whose long neck that she uses to spy on the neighbors really added to her height. Then we have 4 characters standing at 5'8". This includes Victor Crumb, whose small stature helps him be quick and nimble as a seeker, who is normally the smallest player on a Quidditch team. Then Fred and George also come in at 5'8", which might surprise some people because the Phelps twins were super tall, but they were actually short and stocky like their brother Charlie in the novel, which brings me to the 4th character that stands at 5'8", Charlie Weasley, who was also short and stocky. The only person coming in at 5'7" is Neville Longbottom, who's another character that was taller in the films, but in the book, his height matched his somewhat pathetic personality that he had for most of the series before he blossomed into a true and brave hero. But even then, he was still 5'7". We have 2 characters that stand at 5'6", Minerva McGonagall, as well as Peter Pettigrew. Pettigrew's height, when compared to his 3 friends Sirius, James, and Lupin, matches his small and pathetic personality when compared to them as well. We then come to 5'5", which represents more characters than any other height. Mundungus Fletcher, who was actually taller in the book than he was in the movie, Horace Slughorn, who was much shorter than his movie counterpart, Cho Chang, Colin Creevey, whose squeaky voice only added to his short height, Nymphadora Tonks, and Hermione Granger, who interestingly is 6 inches shorter than her future husband Ron. Coming to 5 feet and 4 inches, we have 2 characters. Dennis Creevey, Colin Creevey's younger brother, who was an inch shorter than Colin, and Lily Potter. There's just one character at 5'3", and that's the eccentric and lovely Luna Lovegood. At 5'2", we have Molly Weasley and Molly's only daughter who shares the same height as her mother. This also means that Ginny is 8 inches shorter than Harry in the books, rather than being an inch taller than him like in the movie. Daniel Radcliffe is the ultimate short king. No character comes in at 5'1", but a certain squat, fat, and toad-looking woman comes in at 5 feet exactly, that of course being Dolores Umbridge. Also, with that description, no disrespect to the actress. I love her, and she looks way better than book Umbridge. That description was for the Umbridge in the novel. And now we move to characters that aren't human, starting with the half-goblin Phileas Flitwick, who stands at 3'6". I bet a lot of you thought he was going to be the shortest character, but we still have a few to go. After Flitwick, we have a full goblin rather than just a half-goblin, as Griphook comes in at 3 feet and 5 inches. It's interesting that he's only 1 inch shorter than Flitwick. This means that Flitwick's goblin side took over way more than his human side when it comes to his height. Then we have 2 house elves that come in at 3 feet, Dobby and Kreacher. And finally we come to the shortest character in the Harry Potter series. This honor belongs to the only female house elf that we meet, Winky, who comes in at 2 feet and 9 inches, being 1 inch shorter than Dobby and Kreacher. Here is a look at the full graph. This was a lot of fun to make, even though it was not easy. It was interesting to see the difference between some characters' heights in the book versus the movies, because several of them were very different. Let me know if any of these heights surprised you in the comments below, because quite a few surprised me. But anyway, enjoy looking at the rest of this final graph. It was a lot of work to make, so you better watch the whole thing. That's all for today though, so I'll see you guys in the next video.